Hey everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic back again to talk about night 2 of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Lots to talk about in this recap, from the NXT title match between Finn Bálor and Karrion Kross to the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. So let's waste no further time and let's get straight on with it. This is what happened at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver night 2. There was a pre-show match to talk about here as well, an unadvertised one, but it turns out that we got Breezango versus Drake Maverick and Killian Dain to decide the number one contenders for MSK's NXT Tag Team Championship. Breezango, of course, bust out the fancy dress for this one. They come out as handsome pirates, whereas Drake Maverick, of course, is not taking the match as seriously, perhaps, as Killian Dain. In the early stages, Maverick is gyrating, he's putting a pirate hat on a very unamused Dain, and he kind of pays the price for it, getting isolated by Breezango and beaten down. Finally, though, he gets the hot tag to Killian Dain, who runs wild for a little bit, then it all breaks down. Drake Maverick is the legal man again. He gets a nice Hurricane Rana on Fandango. He goes to celebrate with a big high five from his teammate. Killian Dain's not interested. He just scoops up his own partner, powerbomb onto Fandango, and that's enough, however unintentionally from Drake Maverick's point of view, to pick up the pinfall victory. We start off the main portion of the show with Triple H's emo daughter Poppy performing Adam and the Ants' Stand and Deliver, and then transitioning into a different song that I just couldn't recognize to save my life. But great stuff from Poppy there, getting into the spirit of things. And now we're into our first match, the Cruiserweight Unification ladder match between Santos Escobar and Jordan Devlin. Devlin takes control early on with a springboard moonsault to the outside and brings a ladder into play, but Escobar slings him into it and takes control of the match, drop kicking the ladder into Devlin several times and very much using it as an offensive weapon. Escobar is ultra cocky whenever he's in control, but slingshots Devlin at one stage straight onto the ladder. He scampers up a little bit, so Escobar pulls him down, but Devlin hits a falling DDT. Escobar hits his excellent suicide dive, reminding me of his Lucha Underground days, crushing Devlin against a ladder on the outside, and they seem fairly even again for a while. They go back and forth until Devlin hits a huge moonsault off the top of a ladder, crushing Escobar below. I've used the word crushing quite a lot there. Devlin climbs, but here come Wild and Mendoza to tip him off the ladder and beat him down on the outside. A very cocky Escobar waves them to the back and climbs himself, but Devlin throws a ladder at him and then climbs up an adjacent ladder and hits a big Spanish fly off it. We're getting to the end of the match now as both men work their way up the same ladder, and this time it's Escobar who hits the final blow with a big Zinedine Zidane-esque headbutt to the chest, sending Devlin flying off the ladder and through a second ladder propped up against the corner. It's a horrible landing, and it leaves Santos Escobar free to pull down the two belts and win the match. Escobar celebrates on the stage with his teammates and his son, and this match had a bit of a weird dynamic because obviously both men are kind of heels, but Devlin was playing the babyface role in this match with Escobar's lads getting involved, but then Escobar at the end had a bit of a heartwarming moment with his child, so I don't really know who we were meant to cheer here, but the action was still very exciting. There's no such confusing dynamic in the next match as Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae jump Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart in their NXT Women's Tag Team title match. The challengers dominate Shotzi for a little while, but she gets the hot tag to Ember, who pays a nice tribute to Road Dogg actually, who of course recently had some health issues. Ember hits a few left hands, bit of dancing, and a big DX crotch chop as well for good measure. We get a big Tower of Doom spot to put the heels in control, but the champions fire up again, and Ember holds the ropes open for Shotzi to hit a huge suicide dive to the outside, which she kind of overshoots in terrifying fashion, but thankfully she seems to be okay. Ember heads up top and nails a senton onto both opponents on the outside, but back in the ring, the Way hit kind of a shatter machine type move on Shotzi, which Ember has to break up at the count of 2. From there, it's all the champions as Ember heads back up top and hits an eclipse on both opponents simultaneously, then Shotzi heads up top and hits her big diving back senton onto Indy Hartwell, and that's enough to retain the titles. Next up, we see Stephanie McMahon at ringside with Gable Steveson. He could well be a future star. Just look at him, and just look at Stephanie. She's so excited, bless her. You can practically see the dollar signs in her eyes. Next up, we have the North American Championship match between the champion Johnny Gargano and the challenger Bronson Reed, who of course won that gauntlet match on night 1 to get his way into this bout. The story early on here is that Gargano cannot take Reed off his feet. He's too strong and occasionally too agile as well, busting out a nice cartwheel at one point. But Johnny does eventually take Bronson down and knocks him to the outside, but Reed catches his attempted dive. Johnny slips out the back and shoves him ribs first into the announce table and takes control of the match. Gargano keeps working the ribs to wear Bronson down and does his fake out super kick where he'd usually fake to the head and hit them in the legs, but he hits Reed in the ribs this time, continuing the theme. They start busting out the big moves with Reed hitting a huge brainbuster, Gargano rolling out of the way of the tsunami splash and hitting an outrageous reverse Rana on the much bigger man. Johnny locks in the Gargano escape, but Reed makes the ropes and eventually goes up top for the tsunami again, but this time Austin Theory cuts him off and gives Gargano enough time to hop up onto the middle rope and stop the attack. Gargano attempts a Hurricane Rana, and at this point I think Reed was supposed to hang on and hit a powerbomb from the middle rope, but he kind of drops Johnny. They improvise quite well though, as Reed just hops down into the ring and crushes him with a normal standing powerbomb. He gets 2, but on the count of 3 almost, Austin Theory's there to put Johnny's foot on the bottom rope and save the match. Bronson is angry and flies to the outside with a dive, but Austin Theory takes the bullet for Gargano. Then back in the ring, the two competitors trade super kicks and Reed heads up top with a huge moonsault attempt, but Gargano rolls out of the way. That is one blow to the ribs too many for Bronson Reed, as Gargano scoots to the apron, hits one final beat and then a second one, and that's enough for the 3 count. This was an exciting match, to be fair, really good stuff. I saw a couple of people calling for the title change, but I don't think that Bronson Reed looked weak at all in defeat, especially considering he'd been through a grueling match already on night 1. Now it's time for the NXT title match between Finn Bálor and Karrion Kross. The story here being that Kross is raging and very angry, whereas Bálor controls his emotions and is going to try and drag Karrion Kross into deep water. And Bálor does take it slow to start, laughing at Kross, frustrating him, slapping him in the face, trying to really get inside his head. And it works early on. Kross snaps at one point and starts to attack more recklessly, allowing Finn to sidestep him at one point and send him into the ring post. Bálor keeps working the left arm of Kross, trying to wear him down and locks him in a sudden armbar out of nowhere, but Kross composes himself and maneuvers out, but then Bálor slams his arm into the canvas, almost like a DDT to the arm, they say on commentary, and is right back on top. Bálor really dominates the opening half of this match. He at one stage hits a spinning back kick to the torso of Kross, who seems to no-sell it, but then suddenly crumples out of nowhere, and Bálor now switches his focus to the midsection. Kross finally fires up and gains a bit of momentum, but Bálor hits a Pele kick out of nowhere, and then the coup de grace onto the weakened midsection, but Kross kicks out and immediately transitions into a sleeper. Bálor reverses that like Bret Hart, rolling backwards into a pinfall attempt, but then jumps out of it and hits another double stomp to the body, and then a big punt kick to the ribs. Finn then locks on a grounded abdominal stretch, but Scarlett's on the outside. She fires up Karrion Kross, and he manages to gain control on the canvas, absolutely laying in the big forearm strikes to the back of Finn's head. Bálor is in trouble. He's almost unconscious, but the referee lets it continue. Bálor wobbles to his feet, and then Kross hits several huge crunching forearms running across the ring, nailing Bálor in the back of the head, and one of them is enough for the 3 count. He gets his NXT Championship back. Honestly, I was expecting this match to last a few minutes and be basically a big squash and allow Karrion Kross to look really, really dominant in victory, but I do enjoy the story they told here. It was a more patient title match than I thought it was going to be, but I think it made both men look pretty good. Great performance from Finn here, and Kross now looks like a beast. And finally, we get the main event of the night, the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. And both guys have got new theme music. Cole's is kind of a reworked version of the Undisputed Era theme, and Kyle's has a lot of lovely air guitar potential. We've got security guards separating the two during the ring announcements, and the refs dressed all in black because it's not an official NXT match, guys. The pair stare each other down at the bell before charging, and we kick things off with an all-out brawl. Weapons get involved involved early on, including a steel chain and a chair with the Undisputed Era logo on it. How dare you, Adam? Cole goes to use the ring steps on the outside as he has done previously in this feud, but Kyle O'Reilly gains control. He can't bring himself though to brainbuster Cole onto the steps as Cole had done to him in the past. Instead, they head up to the announce table where Cole looks for a brainbuster, but then O'Reilly reverses it and hits one of his own, and the announce table stands very sickeningly firm. They get more weapons involved, including a TV monitor and the contents of a toolbox underneath the ring, before sitting opposite each other in chairs and just trading big strikes. They rise to their feet where Cole shamelessly hits a low blow. He can't put O'Reilly away though, so he wraps a chair around his neck and looks for a concerto. The ref tries to talk him out of it, so Cole just knocks him out with a big right hand. Cole hits the Panama Sunrise on O'Reilly, but the referee is obviously unconscious, so he can't count the three, and Cole is furious. They head to the outside. O'Reilly locks in a desperation guillotine, so a desperate Cole slams the pair of them through the ramp like Taz and Bam Bam Bigelow in ECW. Cole drags O'Reilly out the side of the ramp and nails the brainbuster on the ring steps. He shoves O'Reilly back in the ring. The referee's recovered, but on the count of three, O'Reilly weakly raises his shoulder just off the canvas in time. Cole is furious and goes for the last shot, but O'Reilly just collapses before he can hit it, so Cole raises him up and goes to hit it again. This time O'Reilly's back in action. He ducks, locks in a double leg lock, and Cole is in trouble, but he grabs the chain and uses it to clock O'Reilly in the face. Cole again goes for Panama Sunrise, but O'Reilly reverses it and goes for Cole's last shot finisher and nails it, but Cole kicks out. So O'Reilly looks to Pillmanize Cole's leg with a chair, but Cole recovers and just hits him with the chair. Then he sets it up upside down, which looks very, very dangerous. He climbs up to the middle rope, tells O'Reilly that he'll always be better than him, and this time it's O'Reilly's turn to hit a shameless low blow. O'Reilly wraps the chain around his leg and hits a diving knee from the middle rope across the neck of Cole, who's slumped over the upside down chair. And finally, with that big ending, that is enough for the pinfall, and Kyle O'Reilly has beaten his former stablemate. Cole gets loaded onto a stretcher as O'Reilly limps onto the ramp and looks pretty shaken, but also a bit triumphant as well, although his back is pretty much a mess by this stage. It's a big win for Kyle O'Reilly and an epic ending to NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. So that's it for the show. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. I thought honestly that both night 2 and night 1 of this event were absolutely fantastic. A really strong 2 days of wrestling action and quite a lot for WrestleMania to follow. Thanks once again and stay safe out there, stay positive, and I'll see you very soon.